Alright, so this is going to be a complete in-depth tutorial on Amazon FBA here in Australia. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name's Jack, but you'll hear more about that in the video. It's quite a lengthy video, so make sure you get out your pen and paper and start writing down some notes and whatnot. And I'll talk a little bit about me, I'll talk a little bit about Amazon FBA course. If you don't want to know about that stuff, go ahead and skip it. That's completely fine with me. I just want you guys to learn as much as you can out of this as well. And before we get into this, before we get into me actually showing you what to do and all that kind of good stuff, all the links down to everything I have discussed in this video will be down below. That includes my Amazon FBA course, that includes a product research software, pretty much everything you need to be linked down below as well. Now, if you have any questions, I already mentioned this in the video that I just filmed, but if you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment down below. And if you could, give this video a like as well. Really very much appreciate it if you gave this video a like. If you got any value out of it, anything at all, give this video a like. It'll really help me out as well. But apart from that, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. See you guys very soon. Okay guys, so we're going to get straight into this. We've got a long video ahead, so if you want to, go ahead and grab out your notebook or diary, whatever you want. Take down some notes because, I want you to sit back and relax and actually learn something out of this video. And that's why I've made it. That's why I've made this whole cool little slideshow and everything. And, I really want you guys to get some value out of it. Now, obviously, I can't go into everything in depth in this video because there is so much there, but I'm going to try to fit as much into this tutorial as I can. So without further ado, we're going to get straight into it. And this is basically going to be all the basics of a complete tutorial and everything you need to get set up. Now, before we get into this, there are a couple of things that won't be discussed in this. Very basic stuff that you can find on my channel. I've got other videos on this, stuff like income taxes, import taxes, like when you're getting your product shipped into Australia. We'll talk about that a bit later anyway, but applying for an ABN or creating a company and purchasing a barcode for your product. Like I said, this stuff is very, very simple, but I won't be talking about it in this video because it's stuff that is, pretty simple, but it's not really, needed so much in this video because I would much rather spend my time actually showing you stuff like finding a product, creating your Amazon seller account, all that stuff, all the extras like taxes and whatnot. That's why I've made them in separate videos, and I'd much rather you check them out there. So we're not going to delve into that today, but in saying that, like I said, it's very, very simple stuff, and I've got very simple tutorials on my channel, so make sure you go and check that out. Before we get into this, you're probably wondering who I am. If this is one of the first videos you've seen of me, you might have been following the channel for a while, but if not, I am going to tell you a bit about me. So basically, my name is Jack Parrotta, and I am 24-year-old Aussie entrepreneur. So myself, I always had, your basic 9-to-5 jobs, working in retail and, doing some work for my parents here and there. But I really, really started this online stuff back in 2017. This is still while I was working full time. I got into Amazon because I was looking at ways to sell online. And, like anyone does, first thing I did, I looked at stuff like social media marketing. I was looking online, I was looking at free videos on YouTube, ended up getting into and finding about Amazon FBA. So I went and, purchased a course and I just started learning. It was basically the same thing, what anyone does. I started watching videos for free. Then I said, okay, I wanted a more in-depth way. Now, I'm not saying that it's necessary to buy a course because I will be talking a little bit about mine. So if you want to skip over that part, which I'll be talking about in a second, you can. But like I said, it's not necessary to get into that. But I basically started selling on there in 2017. And I started in the US market because back then in 2017, it wasn't available in Australia at all. You couldn't sell on Amazon. The Aussie marketplace wasn't even open then. So I started selling in 2017, and then I started really making sales late 2017 with my first product. Ended up hitting 4K plus in sales, which I'll show you guys in a second as well. Show you guys some of my stats. And then it pretty much went from there. I started, learning more about it. I started getting more into it, and I started getting more involved in it because I was so interested in it. I'm thinking, I can actually start making, this income online, because the whole basis around me wanting to get into online sales, and that was because I always had this dream of working for myself. I always had this dream of running an online business. I come from basically, a family, a big family where, a lot of people there in the family are business owners, and it might be something in my blood, it might be something in my DNA, I have no idea. but I've always had this thing where I wanted to work for myself, and that's just because it's what makes me happy. It's not something that you have to do, but it's just something that makes me happy. But I know a lot of people want to do this even just as a side hustle. It's another reason that you can get into it. So after that, I founded Ecom Excellence in 2018. Now, Ecom Excellence I'll talk about in a second. That is my Amazon course for Aussies. So we launched that in mid 2018, and this is, while I had some experience under my belt with Amazon selling already, I wanted to see, I saw the opportunity there, because basically what happened with Amazon, which I'll talk about in a second, is it launched in late 2017 here in Australia. I thought this is a great opportunity for Aussies because there's already people in the US making a lot of money in the US selling on Amazon, making legitimate businesses, and I knew that the same thing was going to happen for Australia. Even if it started off slow, it was going to happen. So I launched that mid 2018. We are now very, very early, right at the start of 2020, and we're just over 200 students now, and it's crazy what's going on. And I'm going to talk about a bit about the numbers, a bit about some of the students as well. But now I am selling alongside my students as well in the Aussie market, trying to grow myself there. Not so much selling on the US market anymore. Not focusing on my own sales as much these days, because I'll show you why in a second. But it's amazing what's happening. So basically, before I show you guys what's happening with my students, these were some of my own personal sales stats. On the left there, we've got, this is my very first product. We had just over 4K in sales for the month, which was amazing. I think profit out of that was probably about 40 to 50%, which was huge. We've got another couple of screenshots here, which you can see on my Instagram as well. That's where I've got these screenshots from, on my Instagram highlights. But it just shows you what's possible. Back when I was in the US, this stuff was amazing to me. On the far right as well, we've got over a few months' time, I ended up getting a little over 10K in sales, which stuff like this was amazing. Like making this money online, I didn't care how little the amount was or how big the amount was. It wasn't that at all. It was that I could actually do it, and I'd never even run a business myself before this, and being able to do this from my laptop, being able to do this from home, it was absolutely amazing. And it was something that I started working on, and I worked hard on it, and the results reflect how much work you put in, which is the amazing thing. It's just like any business. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a second as well, about the work that you need to put in and the mindset that you need to have as well. Before I do that, like I said, I'm going to talk about Ecom Excellence. So what is Ecom Excellence? Basically, and if you don't want to watch this part of the video, that's fine. If you want to get straight into the tactics and to the product research and that's fine. But I know that there are people out there who want to know, they want more of an in-depth kind of explanation as to what I actually do, with my course and whatnot, and if the methods actually work, which is the most exciting part of this. So basically, like I said, I launched Ecom Excellence mid-2018. Back then it was called Amazon Seller Excellence, but I ended up rebranding. I think I rebranded somewhere around 6 months or so ago. I can't remember, but now it's Ecom Excellence. We've got over 200 students now as well, and they are for students or people wanting to sell in the US market and in the Aussie market as well. And it's a complete step-by-step course, so it gives you everything. It's basically what's going to be shown in this video, in this tutorial, but more in depth, and that includes all your taxes, that includes all your UPC codes, that includes absolutely everything you can think of as well. You do also get personal mentorship from me. You can message me, and have support, and you've got a Facebook group with all the students in there as well. Majority of these students selling now had no prior experiences in selling, and I do have students that are actually getting results, because the main thing is, it's really cool to talk about this and hype it up, but does it actually work? And the good thing is that it does. And even better than that, even with the results that I'm showing here, that's on the page, it's only in the very, very beginning stages, which is the best part about this. So basically, I've got some students here selling 3,000 to 5,000 per month, all in the Aussie market, by the way. Some students selling 1,000 per month, and we've got more students that are just starting with their sales, getting their first few sales, and just growing, as they're getting their first lot of products in. So it's very, very exciting stuff. Now, the best thing about this is that they are preparing and they're growing alongside the Aussie market and getting their piece of the pie. So basically, as you can see here in the screenshots, This is actually my very first student that ever enrolled in the course. His name is Albas. You guys might have seen him. I've got a full interview on my channel as well. He would without a doubt be over the 20K in sales mark now, but back when I did this interview with him, he was up. He just sold over 11,000, and the next screenshot was his as well. In a few months, he had over 10K in sales. The second screenshot there on the Aussie market. I've got other students here as well. You know, they're selling 500 a month, and then I've got students who have done. You know, they've got the Amazon bestsellers badge, which is basically, you know, it's the bestseller in their niche. And then stuff like this, you know, the bottom. This is really stuff that excites me. That, you know, if people are starting to get somewhere with this stuff, and you know, I can help people with that. That's the biggest thing for me. So, had another student here. He had about 600 in profit, and this was early December, I'm pretty sure. He had 600 in profit in like the first week or so of his product, you know, on Amazon during the Christmas period, and he was able to buy a plane ticket to China with that money. That's amazing. That stuff like that is amazing, and it's an actual, as you can see here, I've got in the little description there. You know, I say I don't ramble on about Amazon for the fun of it. It's because it can actually help people who want it. It's so true. You know, if you put in the work, it's amazing what can happen, and it actually makes an impact on your life. That's the biggest thing. Also got stuff here. You know, just another student with some really good sales here. Coming into Christmas period, and he's got almost 2,500 sales there. I think he ended up, by the end of December, he ended up hitting around 4 to 5K in sales before he ran out of stock, which was amazing. So before I get into this, now I'm going to talk about private labeling as well, FBA and private labeling and what it is. Before I get into that, I just want to show you guys something here, and this is the actual course site as well. It's just ecomexcellence.com.au, and you can check it out if you want. Now this is the course page, and it shows you in-depth stuff about the course, and you know, we've got testimonials on here and whatnot. I'm not going to ramble on about the course too much in this, but you can go ahead and have a look about what it's all about. Check out the curriculum in there, check out what it's all about, a bit more info about me, and just all that stuff. So if you do want to check it out, now at the moment I do have $100 off as well. So if you do want, I've still got the Boxing Day and New Year's mega sale going on. I've extended this price, so it's $447. If you do want to get in, you know, go ahead and enroll. If you want to check it out after this video or whatnot, it's just ecomexcellence.com.au. But like I said, I'm not going to ramble on too much about that. That's just the course page if you want to check it out. It's got in-depth stuff about, you know, what's involved. So we might as well get into this now and actually talk about, you know, the tactics and how to get started with this. So first of all, what is Amazon FBA and private labeling? So Amazon.com.au, you guys might know it as a big online retail, especially in the US. There's like something like over half, there's like 50% of people in the US have Amazon Prime subscriptions, which is basically free shipping and a lot of other perks when buying from Amazon. 50% of the population in the US. That is absolutely crazy. Now, like I said, it launched late 2017 here in Australia. It's not just buying though. As you guys know or might not know, it's also selling. So this is where fulfillment by Amazon comes into. So fulfillment by Amazon, which I'll talk about that in more in depth in a second. But private labeling basically is putting your brand or logo on a white label product and making it your own. So basically, you buy a no-branded product or some units of a no-brand product. Just say you buy 50 units or 100 units of a no-branded product from China. You get them to put your label on it, make it your own, and you send that to Amazon. So basically what happens is you buy your product from a supplier at a cheaper price, then send it to an Amazon warehouse. After you sell the product at a higher price, Amazon then packs it and ships it to the customer. So that's why it's called fulfillment by Amazon. When a customer buys your product, it is fulfilled by Amazon. The order is fulfilled and shipped by Amazon. That's what FBA is. So it's very, very basic business sort of layout. And it's like I said, it's not easy to grow, but you put in the work and you start learning, it gets easier and easier. Just with anything, as you put more effort in, you put more time into it, it gets easier as you do it. So as well, you never touch and see the product. That's the biggest thing. And unless you're getting a sample of your product, which we'll talk about later on as well, unless you're getting a sample, you don't see it. You just basically are dealing online with your customer, with your supplier, sorry. They send it to the Amazon warehouse. You never touch or see your product at all, which is the best part. You don't have to hold any inventory. And then another good part about this, especially when it comes to Amazon Australia, is you create your own brand and solid, profitable online business. So it's not just, I really hate when these Amazon gurus, I'll never consider myself an expert in anything or a Amazon guru or anything like that. I really hate those terms. But I really don't like when they say that, you can just launch a product and become instantly profitable in 30 days and, build this, huge business, and it's just going to be easy sailing from there. It's not like that at all. It is an actual business, and it's a long-term thing. If you are serious about it, I'm talking about if you're actually serious about it, you can actually create your own brand, especially when it comes to Aussies. Brand is such a big thing, especially coming into 2020 and with all this e-commerce that's starting to boom in Australia. Building a brand is just the gateway to a solid, profitable online business, especially when it comes to Amazon, because Amazon's such a stable sort of business plan. The way it's set out, you put the work in. I can guarantee that it's a long-term thing, but like I said, you have to put the work in. So first of all, before we get into, because I'm going to be talking about mindset as well before we get into the nitty-gritty stuff, but I want to first talk about, why Amazon Australia? You're probably thinking, hey Jack, if Amazon US is so big, why don't we just go sell there? And you still can. That's the biggest thing. Amazon US is huge. I'll be talking about why I'm focusing on Amazon Australia though. Amazon US is huge. Still lots of money to be made, but it's very competitive. That doesn't mean that you can't go in there and give it a crack and go and try and sell on the US market. It still can be done. There's people that are launching products to this day. There would have been multiple products launched today. Maybe hundreds of thousands of products launched just today. As you're watching this video. So it's still a huge opportunity there, but it is competitive. So just to give you guys some perspective, North American population is 367 million. 367 million. Amazon FBA launched in America in 2006. So you can just think of all that time that people have had in solidifying their brands, in reordering products, in ranking their product. It's a lot of time. That's why it's so competitive, because people are so used to it. And in the US, people are so used to buying online. It's just crazy. They're way ahead of times than, with e-commerce than they are here in Australia. Now, if we compare that to Australia, Australia's population is 25 million. So 25 million people, that is substantially smaller than America. Amazon FBA launched here only in November 2017. So we're over a decade late to the party. But look, we still, it's a good and bad thing. It's like a double-edged kind of sword. It's bad because it's only just launched. It's bad because we don't have, we're never going to have the same amount of sales volume. But the opportunity here is huge. Now that e-commerce is starting to boom here in Australia, that gives you opportunity because it's so new. There's going to be, I can guarantee there's going to be people that are looking at this 5 or 10 years down the line saying that it's a good opportunity, at that time to launch. You can just imagine if you solidify your own brand here in Australia at this point in time when it's still new, you are going to reap the rewards. That's why I said here we're in a golden era for Amazon Australia. And that's why this is the right time to get in and start growing your products and brand. Now, on the right side here, I've got the online sales in the US. This is just revenue for e-commerce as a whole. As you can see here, it goes right up to 2018, 232 billion, almost 233 billion US in revenue in e-commerce as a whole. That's massive, and that's not even counting up to 2020, which I think it's getting even bigger. It's going to be so huge, and it's only going to get bigger. Now, as you can see here, we've got here online sales in Australia. Now, this is only 2018 to 2022. It's harder to get the information for Australia because, like I said, it's still newer here in Australia. It's not like it hasn't been around, but it's still newer, and people are later on the bandwagon for e-commerce and buying online than what they are there in the US. But as you can see here, we've got in US millions, got up to 16.5 million, which is I'm pretty sure I've read that number right, but I'm pretty much just showing you there. It's not about the exact numbers. It's about looking at the growth. As you can see there on the scales, see there on the graph, you're looking at the growth there. It's only going to get bigger. and it's the way that's going to go. You can't get out of that. Brick and mortar stores, it's going to eventually get to the point where majority of people are buying online, especially here in Australia, and it's just the way it's going. So that's why I'm talking about this stuff. That's why I'm making such a big push for it as well. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty stuff, like I said, we need to talk a little bit about mindset, and it's really realistic to get into the right mindset. So when it comes to Amazon selling, your Amazon FBA business will take time. You're going to have to be patient, but work hard. You're going to have to work hard, your day in, day out stuff, especially when first starting, you're going to have to work hard. Now, you have to be practical about it as well. The next thing I've got here is don't have entitlement for your product and brand. You got to be practical. So what I mean is by don't have entitlement, let's say you launch a product, and let's say you're in the beauty niche. You launch a product, you launch your brand, and a lot of people have this thing going that, okay, because it's their product, apparently it's better than everyone else's. Apparently theirs is the best product, and when they don't make sales, they're super disappointed because they're thinking, hey, look, my product's the best out here. Why isn't it selling? You can't have that entitlement. You got to be practical. You got to think, okay, do I have a good product? Is it good quality? Does my brand seem reputable? Am I helping people? You got to think of the end consumer when it comes to selling on Amazon. It's the only way you're going to win with this stuff. You have to be practical. You have to look at your competition as well, and you have to work hard as well. Don't expect to quit your job and, in quotes, make millions sitting on the beach. That's another thing that I hate coming from these Amazon sellers, where people just say, hey, I made 20,000, in my first 3 weeks selling on Amazon, blah, blah, blah. Majority of the time, it doesn't work like that. It takes time, especially when you're in a new market like Amazon Australia. It takes time. Like I've said here, it's a real business and takes work to learn and grow. So the biggest things here, work hard, be patient, because it takes time. It takes time to grow. It's a real business. And I'm not saying that it's going to take years and years. It could take you 4 months. It could take you 6 months. It could take you 12 months. Who knows? It depends on what your goals are. It depends on, how much work you put in, how much time. It's pretty much asking, when someone asks me, how long does it take to be profitable? It's basically asking, how long is a piece of string? If you've heard that saying before, it depends on what your goals are, in terms of what you want to achieve out of this business, and it depends on how much time and effort you put in and how quickly you learn it. Now, some people might take longer to learn, some people might not take as long, but it depends on, you are going to know how you work, you're going to know how you learn, and you're going to have to adjust and work, as hard as it takes, as long as it takes to, get the, reap the rewards. Like I've said here, put in the work and you're going to reap the rewards. So you're going to make sure that you get started with the right mindset. If you go into the right mindset, that you're going to launch a product and instantly be profitable and start making thousands in profit, in the first month or two, you probably should stay away from this business. You probably should stay away from any business, because that's usually not how it works. So you got to be, into this with the right mindset. So start getting into nitty-gritty kind of stuff. Before we get into product research and all that, you got to know what will you need and how much to get started. So this is what you need. Very simple, basically a laptop or a PC, or a MacBook, whatever you want, anything that is a computer and the internet. That's basically all you need to get started. It's very, very simple stuff. You don't need, any stores. You don't need any overhead setups like what you do brick and mortar stores. Very, very simple. How much do you need to get started? This is my suggestion, about 500 to 1500. That's AUD. So that's my suggestion to get started. We're going to talk about smaller orders. We're going to talk about bigger orders as well, but 500 to 1500 just for your average kind of seller. If you're a newbie getting started, that's what I would recommend to save, to put aside, to have for that. Now this factors in product order size, which we'll talk about later on. Research software we'll also talk about later on. Learning material, so if you want to get involved in a course, like I said, you don't have to get involved in a course if you don't want. I was someone who learnt really well from courses, because it's a step-by-step sort of layout, and I work well with that kind of thing, especially stuff that has visual material like videos, which is what Ecom Excellence is, by the way. It's all visual, it's all in videos. So it's the best way that I learned, so that's why I did it as well. But you don't have to, and that's just factoring in stuff like courses as well. So And then you've got others, extras such as logos and product photography, which we'll talk a little bit about later on as well. But that is my suggestion. I have had students that have done more. I've had students that invest as much as up to like 12K in their product. I don't recommend that. I've had I've had students put in 4 to 6K. It's really up to them. I tell them that as long as they're comfortable with it, as long as their product is still going to be profitable, as long as they have taking the precautions and actually got a proper plan set up, but that is 500 to 1500. That is sort of a safe area that I suggest when first getting started. So this is the one of the most important things, and this is something. It's basically like the biggest module in my course personally, and it is finding a product. So it's going to be, when it comes down to it, selling on Amazon, you can have the best brand name, you can have the best logo, you can have everything set up, you can market as much as you want your product, but if it's not a good product, you're not going to sell it. Majority of the time, you're not going to sell it. Now, it can go vice versa. You can have terrible branding. Your logo can be absolutely terrible, and it could look horrendous. But if you've got a good product that's high quality, that helps people, you most likely sell it. That's all it comes down to. So when we do product research for the Aussie market here in Australia, it's 2 pieces of software that we usually use. One's called eGrow, which is to find products and check sales stats and the demand. Another one's called AlgoPix to check product and demand and Google Trends. So the reason we use these 2, and I'll tell you a bit more about it in a second about these 2 pieces of software, but the reason we use these 2 is because they work for the Aussie market. Now, there are and I'm going to be straight up with you on this, there are more accurate research softwares out there, but they don't work for the Aussie market, which is, it is a shame, but eGrow and AlgoPix have worked fine for my students. There's ways around it to get more accurate sort of readings. I'll tell you guys what I mean in a second, but I'm going to be straight up with you there. The only reason we use these ones is because they're the only 2 reputable ones, decently reputable ones that we're using at the moment that work for Amazon Australia. If there's an update, or if there's a better product research software that ends up working for Amazon Australia that updates, we'll move to that one. But for now, these are the ones that we use. So most important points, which I was talking about just before, when it comes to product research, make sure you got a high quality product. Now, when I say high quality, I mean don't buy crap from China. Don't buy these really cheap 50-cent bracelets, or like these really cheap things like fad products like fidget spinners and that. I find it to be absolute crap. You need to have a good product there that actually helps people. First things first though, you need to make sure that it has high demand, or at least moderate. This means, in my opinion, on the Aussie market, 2 to 3 sellers doing 3 to 5K in revenue per month, minimum. That's minimum. 3 to 5 revenue per month minimum. That's how you know it's actually got at least some demand, some good solid demand in it, and you'll be able to get a piece of that pie. Now, you might look at a product and say, hey, no one's launched this product. You might find something that on the US market that, or you might find a product in general that no one's selling on Amazon, on Amazon Australia at all, and you might think, this is awesome. I'm gonna launch this product. Might be a good product to launch, but at the same time, how do you know if anyone's going to want that product? There's no one selling it. What if you launch it, you get like 200 units in, and no one ends up wanting it? You got to look at the numbers. You got to look at if there's demand, especially when you're a beginner. If you've got experience in this, like in selling on Amazon, maybe you can look at something like that. But when you're a beginner, you need to look at the actual, like I said before, you have to be practical about it. And that's what I would recommend. Look at the numbers first. As well, you need to have a product that solves a problem and helps people as well. And it just comes down to high quality product. If you're solving a problem, if your product helps people, it's going to be a good product. If it's got demand, then without a doubt you're going to have more so, in quotes, more so a winning product. Rather than just selling crap. I wouldn't recommend just selling trendy products or crappy products, anything like that. You need to have a good product. Then what you can do there is, what I would suggest is put your own spin on it and be different from the competition. If you've got a product doing really, really, really well, what you want to try and do is either improve it or put a small spin on it. This could be something like color, maybe a slight color design change, bundle it with something else, whatever it may be. But you want to be slightly different from the competition. You don't want to sell exactly the same as what your other sellers are doing, and because the reason for that is, you know, if you were to sell the exact same product, you know, same color, same design, everything, what's the point in that? Who's they going to buy? They're going to buy the one that's already on there, the one that's already established, the one that has reviews and, you know, is optimized and looks a lot better. You know, it's just, that's why I always say try and be different. Now, top categories to sell in as well. These are ones that I recommend just for beginners for the Aussie market. We've got baby and beauty, home, health and household, fitness, which is something that I probably wouldn't do if you're in the US market, but in the AU market, you can get away with it. Fitness and pet supplies. And then you just got to make sure that it's not trademarked or patented. So what you want to do is not sell Nike sneakers. I wouldn't be selling Adidas shirts and things like that, things that are trademarked or things that are patented. Like I wouldn't be going and selling like Apple AirPods or anything like that. Just because, for one, you're not really creating your own brand, and two, you don't want to get into hot water with either Amazon or the company itself. So make sure that it's not trademarked or patented as well. You can check that stuff out by, you know, going on Google Patents and checking that out, or, you know, just Googling it, seeing if your product has a particular brand that's registered or anything like that, or trademarked. So make sure about that as well. Then last thing, make sure your profit margin is $10 or higher. The reason that we do that, now I used to say $6, and I've upped that now because you got to make sure that, you know, it's $10 or higher, so you've got room to move for things like advertisement as well, for things like price changes. So I'd recommend profit margin of $10 or higher, which we'll talk about profit margins in that in a second. So we're going to get into it, and I'm actually going to show you guys, this isn't just going to be a slideshow series, I'm actually going to show you guys how to use these pieces of software to do product research. So using eGrow and AlgoPix. eGrow has a web app which you can actually do product research with, and a Chrome extension, which I'll show you both in a second. Important note, when using eGrow for the Aussie market, this is a big thing, when using eGrow for the Aussie market, divide the revenue and sales of a product by 5 to get a more accurate reading. So let's just say if you find a product, and I'll show you guys this, I'll show you an example in a second as well. Let's say you have a product that sells 20,000 per month. You want to divide that by 5 to get a more accurate reading. So basically, you know, when it comes down to it, and the reason is because eGrow pretty much, I'd say, uses the same sort of algorithm to get the sales numbers from the Aussie market as they do in the US market. So it works fine on the US market, seems to be more accurate in the US market. It's not as accurate on the AU market. So that's what I was talking about earlier. But the way around this, and, you know, to get a more accurate reading, we can divide it by 5. We can also cross-reference AlgoPix sales numbers with eGrow as well. So I'm going to show you guys this product example in a second, but what I want to do first is I want to show you eGrow. So this is eGrow. Now, I'm not really going to talk too much about, I'll leave the links in the description for this as well, and the links in the description for the course will be down below as well if you do want to check it out. But eGrow is, you can do a free subscription on this, so you can actually try a free subscription. The one that I think is most worth it is about $30 a month, I'm pretty sure, $30 AUD. And basically it's a product tracker. You can do database research, so it's basically where you can actually find products in here. You know, you can actually find products through Amazon Australia. So first things first, you know, once you log in, and I'm just going to do this as quickly as I can, and then I'll show you the product example I was talking about. So first things first, you want to make sure that you're in the Aussie market. Good thing about eGrow is you can do, you know, US, German, UK. Not sure what I'm not sure what this one is. I'm terrible with countries. We've got the, you know, Italian, Canadian, France, Spanish, and you've got a whole bunch as well. Even the Brazilian down here. Let me know what that one is. I'm terrible. I feel so stupid right now. I'm terrible with country flags. But make sure you're on Amazon Australia, and this, you know, you come to the database research, and what you can actually do is filter through, and it helps you find products. So what I mean by database research is it's actually going to search for the products on the Amazon Australia website. It's going to search through using the filters that you put in. I'm actually going to change this here because I put in some parameters in here, but I'm actually going to change it. Let's change that to 4,000. Change it to 4,000 to 8,000. There we go. So now these are the categories that I do personally. You can follow along with this. Like I said, the link's down below. You can use the free version when getting started. Now the free version won't show as many products, just a heads up on that. So I'd probably do the standard, which is about $30. You can pay for it month by month. But these are the categories I do here: baby, beauty, health, household and personal care, home improvement, pet supplies, sports, fitness and outdoors. Now for price, I just did $19.99 to $39.99, because if it's lower than $19.99, maybe $15, but if it's lower than that, it's going to be very hard to get to that $10 profit that I was talking about. So as well, you know, because you're in the Aussie market, you've got a bit more leeway. You don't really have to worry too much about the reviews and too much about the, you know, stuff like bestseller rating as well, which is good. But I just did the price, maximum reviews 50. Just so you're finding products that don't have too many reviews, because you want to be able to compete. Then it's estimated revenue anywhere between $4,000 and $8,000. That's per month as well. I as well did standard size products, Amazon, FBA and merchant. So this just means the products that are sold by Amazon, products that are sold by FBA sellers, and products that are sold by merchants. So I'm going to go ahead and hit search, and it's actually going to bring up this full list of products here. Instead of trying to look for a product right now, I've actually got a product that I found beforehand as an example. So I'm going to wait for this to load up, and it's going to bring up the products that have these parameters in here. Hopefully it doesn't take too long to load. But yeah, it's a very, very powerful tool. So basically we can see here, and I'm going to show you guys what we're actually looking at, because it might look confusing to you right now. So let's just say we've got here, let's just say good product example. We'll load more up, and I'll show you guys, you know, something. Actually, we can actually look at these ones right here. Once this loads up, we might actually be able to see it through here. So we've got the 3-pack organic cotton adjustable infant swaddles. And we'll go back to that. Infant swaddles, so they're just swaddle blankets for babies. So basically what it shows you here, it shows you the sale price. For some reason it doesn't have the net. Usually it shows you the net, which is you know, the profit out of that. And it's got the reviews, got 14 reviews. And it's also got the amount of sales per month and the revenue per month. Now, like I said, got to divide this by 5. So it's actually not selling as much as what you think, but you can find, and I'll show you guys in the product that I'll be showing as an example, you can find products that are selling way more than this, which is amazing. It's good. But this is just to show you an example, but you can actually go through the different pages, and you can actually see it's a very good product to, it's a very good strategy to actually find products, to get product ideas. And then if you want as well, you can actually add this to your product tracker as well. So actually you just click on this little plus. So what that does, and if you want to track this product, let's just say you want to see how it sells over a week. If we want to see how this watch sells over a week, you add it to the product tracker, it goes into your product tracker, and you can actually have a list of products that you're tracking, and it'll give you more accurate, you know, representation of the sales data as well. And you can just track, you can see if the product is seasonal as well. You can see, you know, if it's a, you know, if it only sells over Christmas, if it only sells during the winter, or whatever it may be. So I would personally go for products that sell all year round. That's something I didn't put into the product research stuff as well. Make sure that your products aren't seasonal, unless you want to sell seasonal products, by the way. Make sure that your products you know, aren't seasonal as well. If you want more steady sales, I would recommend products that sell throughout the year. So basically, so from here, now I'll show you guys in a second, and I'll be able to show you how AlgoPix works. But before we do that, I'm actually going to go through and show you a product example, show you how I use this, how I found it, you know, on Amazon, and how I use the eGrow Google Chrome extension. So I've got this product here. It's called a water flosser. Basically what it is, it's just you put water in it, it has a pump, and it actually flosses your teeth. Instead of using the flossing tape, it is just a powerful little jet stream that gets in between your teeth and it flosses for you. So this here, now as you can see here, we've got higher revenue. So I checked this out just before. The numbers are still very similar to the screenshot I have here. 67,000, 24,000, 35,000. They're the kinds of numbers that you're looking at for a higher selling product. Again, we had to divide that by 5. So when I divided the sort of one on the highest range and one on the lowest range, by 5, we came out to these numbers here. 4805, 13,513 per month. So I just rounded it down from 4,000 to 10,000 per month. So that is more along the lines of what we're looking at for the revenue on this. We know that it has high demand, and this is a product that you can actually have a look at yourself. And I'll show you guys when we go through and when we look at how to find the product through a supplier, what I would be looking for that kind of thing as well. But we know it has high demand because we have multiple sellers here doing these kinds of numbers as well. Got a good sell price as well, and it solves a problem. That's the main thing. It solves a problem. It actually helps people. It's the main thing. It's a good quality product as well. This had a lot of 5-star reviews on it. It's another good thing that you can look at as well. So buy price, which I'll show you in a second. Buy price and sell price. So this is what I found it from at Alibaba, $24.49. We'll go into Alibaba in a second. Sell price $54.99, which is pretty much the general selling price of most of these. Then you got to factor in FBA fees. So I did this at a higher sort of FBA fee of around $10. Now you can actually see here by looking at the sale price and the net. So we've got $54.98 and $45. And then you're sort of looking at around $10, and that's what the fees would be, because basically fees, FBA fees for fulfillment fees, that's packing and shipping costs. That's for Amazon packing it for you and shipping it out to the customer. So that's about $10. So we've got to take the sell price, take away the buy price, and then take away the fees. We're left with about $20 profit, which is which is actually it might be a little bit different. I've got those numbers. I'm 50 cents off because it's $24.49. So it's a little bit different to that, but you get the gist of it as well. It's around $20 profit, and it'll be a decent product to go for. You got $20 to move around with advertisement and price changes and whatnot. So I've shown you the good product example. This is something that you could definitely go for. Now what I'm going to show you here is how you could look at it on Amazon, how you could use eGrow to look at the numbers, and then how you could use AlgoPix to cross-reference that. So what I did here is I typed in water flosser into Amazon, and this is the first page that came up. Now what I did here is I hit the eGrow, because eGrow gives you a Chrome extension as well. This is how I got the numbers. So it brings up, and basically what eGrow does here is it brings up the full sales stats for this whole page. All these products here, you can actually go through and it shows you a little screenshot of each one. This one here is doing 29,000, 61,000, which I think this is a pretty heavily branded water flosser. Then we've got ones here, 21,000, 10,000 down here. So as you can see, it's still got demand on it, 43,000. Cool stuff. That's how I bring it up. Now, I went to the top one on the list, which we were looking at before, the one we used as an example, and we're actually going to check this with AlgoPix as well, have a look at the numbers on there. So what I did is I just right-clicked on it, opened a link to the new tab, and I brought up this one here. I brought up this particular product. Now what you want to do on this product page is, now let's say we've got AlgoPix here. So how we use this, basically what AlgoPix does before we actually get into using it is it shows you insights. It shows you whether a product has demand, it shows you Google Trends, all that cool stuff. So what I did here, now what we need to actually find the product is, to actually pull up the stats, is the ASIN. And what the ASIN is this little number here. It starts in BO. This one right here in between these two slashes. It's the product identifier for Amazon. So we're going to copy that in, and we're going to paste it in here. Now, purchase price. So this is where Alibaba comes in. We're going to talk about Alibaba more in a second, about talking to suppliers, but we need to find out around how much this is going to cost for us to buy, to actually buy from a supplier. So I went to alibaba.com, and like I said, I'll be talking more in depth about that in a second. But I went and typed in water flosser. And what you want to look for when you're looking at, because basically what Alibaba is it's just a full website to find Chinese suppliers, to find reputable Chinese suppliers. So we want to look for, when we type in water flosser, we want to look for something that looks good and that has a reputable supplier that's selling the product, and it's obviously got a decent price. So I went and had a look at something like this. This seems to be okay. Obviously, I'd contact the supplier first, but this is just to give us an idea. And what you want to look for is something like this. These little gold badges here, that means they're a trusted supplier. And you can look stuff at like their transaction level, their response rate. All this stuff just verifies if they're a better supplier, than the others. If they don't have the gold badge, don't even bother. You can even go for a verified supplier as well to have even more security. But the majority of the time, I've personally never had a problem with Alibaba suppliers. You just got to make sure that they got the gold little badge here. But we did, I had a look at this price here. I used this for reference. So reference here, it was $24.49 when converted to AUD for the buy price. So just using that as a reference, I changed that to AUD, $24.49 as the buy price. And before you hit search, what you want to make sure is you go and edit these parameters here. You want to make sure that for the fulfillment, so you've got the FBA fees there for Amazon, FBA shipped from Australia. You want to make sure that you untick eBay AU and just have Amazon AU. Make sure the product condition is new. Make sure you just got the AlgoPix algorithm on there as well. We can actually try Amazon for this, identify market Amazon AU, and we go ahead and hit submit. So what this is going to do, it's going to pull up the data, have a look at the profit and whatnot. So we've got highest profit opportunity. It just pulls up the whole product and all the information on it. Product demand level is high, expenses $39.86. Profit for this particular one's about $15. And we've come down here. So basically what it does is it shows you, obviously like I was saying, the stats for this particular product, and it actually shows you the estimated sales per month, revenue per month as well. So that's pretty accurate to what we had. We had 4,000 to 10,000 per month as well. So about 4,500 revenue per month. You're looking at that on an average scale. We've probably got 40 to maybe 50% profit on that. So you can work that out with the revenue as well. You don't have to divide this by 5 because this is more accurate. We found this is more accurate than eGrow. So that's why we cross-reference as well. As well, we can check out, it's a really, really cool insight, is Google Ads Analysis. This actually shows you the search volume over time, the interest on these water flossers. So as you can see here, this would be an amazing product to go for. This is something that you can look at yourself. Look at the interest level over time. You see how this is scaling up? It means it's only getting bigger. The volume's only going to get bigger. It started off 2015, slowly getting bigger to November 2019. Even though it's got a dip right now, it's still on the upslope. Very, very good insight to have with that as well. So that's just a little bit about a good product example, and how I would go into this, how I would sort of look at the revenue and whatnot of this. So next thing we want to talk about is where and how do I buy my products. What I was talking about before, we're going to go straight into Alibaba. So we find Chinese suppliers and purchase our products from Alibaba.com. Now you want to make sure that you choose a trusted supplier, which is the gold badge I was talking about. When you're looking at a product, you want to make sure that you email at least 3 to 5 suppliers for each product. Sorry, by the way, if this is getting a bit dragged out. I'm trying to put in as much information as I can on this without sounding too dreary and whatnot. It's a lot of info to put into one video. But look, we're going to try and fit this in, and we're going to try and make it as valuable as we can. So you're going to choose an order amount as well, which I'll tell you guys, talk to you guys a bit when we actually, because I'm going to go and do an example sort of emails what I'd send to a supplier in this kind of instance. And so yeah, you want to make sure that you're emailing at least 3 to 5 suppliers for each product. Now, when it comes to order amount, what I used to recommend is, doing like 200 to 300 units or like 100 to 300 units. What you can do now, if you want to test a smaller amount, is you could order, say, something around 50 units if you want it, and that'll keep your costs down. If you want to test out a smaller amount of units first, see if it sells, and then order a bigger amount, you can do that too. So you can order around 50, or if you're 100% certain on the product and you want to make sure that you get your sales volume up straight away, because the main reason for ordering more is so you don't run out, because when you run out of stock on Amazon, it might kill your momentum. It might not, but it might kill your momentum. It's going to be harder, if you're out of stock for a while. If you're out of stock for a week or two, that could hurt your momentum. So you got to make sure of that. But if you're just a beginner, I think it's okay if you even want to start around 50 units. Main things as well, negotiate as much as possible. With these 3 to 5 suppliers, you want to negotiate on everything. At the end of the day, you've got to think about it as though these Alibaba suppliers, they want your business. So you got to negotiate on price, shipping, add-ons, etc. And it's all via email. It's all messaging through the Alibaba platform. Very, very simple to do. As well, what you want to make sure before you purchase the units, you want to order a sample, which you can do, which I'll show you guys the messaging system right now actually. So we're going to get back into it. Now let's just say we go to this here. Let's say we like the look of this. Now you can see what the minimum order is. 20 pieces. Now some here might have, like, see this one, we've got 200 units, 50 pieces, 2 pieces. Make sure you check that out. Make sure you check out what the minimum order is. So let's just say we wanted to contact the supplier, right? So all we do is go ahead and hit contact supplier, and all we're doing is asking for a quote, which is what majority of people do when they're messaging. So we want 50 units, and this is all we say. This is all I say in mine. It's very, very simple. And sorry if my keyboard's a bit loud, but I'm just going to say, hi, my name is Jack Parrotta. Again, sorry for the loud keyboard. I've got a big old mechanical keyboard. It's a big loud one. So, hi, my name is Jack Parrotta. I own an online Amazon store and would like to add your, and we'll just say oral irrigator water flosser to my catalog. Hopefully I spelled catalog right. Did I? Catalog, I don't know, we'll use that. I think that's a US catalog, but anyway. And then I just say I would like to get a quote for, and then we just say this, 50 units. It's very, very simple to get a quote, and you can do this for your 3 to 5 suppliers. You know, you don't have to talk with anyone over the phone, and majority of them are very good at you know, you're talking the English language as well. So I would say 50 units, and then I would say UPC code and logo printed on box/product, because you never know if they can do it on the product itself or just the box. You got to talk to them about that, and then you can negotiate the prices as well. So 50 units. Then you want to do price of shipping via air, because air's the quickest way. And then now what else we got? So we got units, UPC code, logo printed on box, price of shipping, and okay, now we want to type in custom logo as well. We want to make sure that it's custom, because you might want to customize your box as well. Price of shipping via air, and then as well you want to do estimated time of production and shipment. And there we go. And that's pretty much all that you put in there. And then you can just say something like this. I am looking forward to working with you. And then you just say, you know, regards, Jack Parrotta. There we go. So there we go. So all you're asking for is, you know, you're telling them that you're interested in the product, and then you want to get a quote for 50 units, putting your barcode, your custom logo printed on the box or the product, price of shipping via air, estimated time of production and shipment as well. And that's pretty much it. If you want to ask for anything else, go ahead and put it in that quote. Very, very easy to do, and you know, you don't have to do it like this, but this is the most simple way. You can just lay it out for them like this, so it's very easy. And then you just go ahead and hit send inquiry now. By the way, before you do this, you just have to make an account through Alibaba so you can send inquiries. It's free to make an account. Go ahead and hit make an account. You just go up here, and you can, you know, go ahead and it'll just say, it'll either say sign in or create an account. Just create an account. Very, very easy to do, and then you can start contacting suppliers. You don't need an ABN or anything like that. Very, very easy to do. Very, very simple. So go ahead and do that. And like I said, you want to at least email 3 to 5 suppliers as well. So next thing after that, now after you've contacted suppliers, what we want to start doing, because at this point in time you're going to be looking at potentially buying a product and getting it sent to the Amazon warehouse. So what you want to look at is creating your Amazon seller account. and your listing creation. So you will need to create a seller account. You will need an Australian ID, which is a driver's license or passport. And by the way, you can check this out on the Amazon site as well. If you want to verify these details, you can check this out. This is just getting it from the Amazon site for the details that you need. You need an internationally chargeable credit card. This is to pay for your seller account. You need a tax file number, and you need a bank account. You need a bank account info so Amazon can pay you. So you can actually, get paid when you start making sales. After this, you can create your Amazon listing. Now, the reason we need to do the beginning stages of our Amazon listing is because you need to prepare to send your product to Amazon. Only reason we can do that, and we'll talk a little bit about doing a shipment plan as well. The only way we can do a shipment plan is if we have our product listing. That's what I mean by Amazon listing, your product listing. You need to have a product listing up as well. So before we do that, first thing you need is to sign up for your Amazon seller account. So to start selling, you just basically Google in. I just Googled in sell on Amazon Australia, and I made sure to hit this one here, amazon.com.au, Amazon Seller Services, and then it'll bring you to this page. Make sure it's just .com.au, so you're in Australia, make sure it's got AU there. Then you go ahead and hit start selling. Now it's going to bring you to this page. It might bring you to a page before that, but you want to go ahead and hit create a seller account. Very, very simple to do this. It's a very, very easy follow along sort of with the prompts here. So I'm going to fill out these details. I'll see if I can do it. I might not be able to do it because I already have seller accounts on there, but I'll try and put in my details and see how we go. Once you've done that, you go ahead and hit create your Amazon account. Yeah, and like I said, it's a very, very simple method. I've had to block out my my address on here because for some reason it's got my old address on there. But you've got your seller agreement, seller information. You just put your card in there. Now, word of warning, before you create your seller account, before you do this, once you put your card in, once you put your billing deposit, your product information in and whatnot, it's going to bill you the $50 or $40 or $50 straight away for your seller account. So just keep in mind that. Now, what you can do now with Amazon Australia is you can actually do an individual selling account, which is free. So they just charge, you can get signed up for that if you want. Now, when it comes to selling on Amazon, I would recommend a professional seller account. Otherwise, you won't be able to advertise. But if you want to get started and just make your seller account and do your listing, you can change to the professional seller account as well. So you put in that. I'm not going to go through this whole thing because it's very, very simple to do. I'm just going to show you guys what it looks like after you make an account. So do all this, follow the prompts, and then you should be good to go. After you set that up, come over to this page here. You've got your seller account. So what we do from here, and it might have like negative $40 or $50 on here if you have already set up your account with a professional seller plan. So this is just your home page. Now what you want to do from here is to add a product, to do your product listing. We're going to do that right now. So we're going to go ahead and go to inventory and go add a product. Now that's going to bring you to the product page. And what you want to do here, don't worry about any of this. All you want to do here is create a new product listing. There we go. So let's just say now we're going to use, for this instance, we're going to use this oral irrigator, just the water flosser that I was talking about. And we're going to use that as reference. So let's just say we'll go here. Let's probably go health, household and personal care, dental care. And don't worry too much if you can't find the exact kind of category that you're looking for. Just get it as close as you can. I'm just going to go, what do we got? So dental care, we've got floss, power flossers, irrigators. Yeah, we'll just do that. Yeah, so don't worry too much because the more that you start selling, it'll optimize more and more. It'll put you into the right category. Just get it as close as you can for that. I'm going to go ahead and hit select. And this will bring you to, and this is where we actually make your listing. And I'm not going to go too in depth with this because like I said, I've got other videos on this already, but this is where you put in your UPC code. Now for Amazon Australia, it's actually an EAN, which if you check out my other video on how to buy a barcode, I'll tell you more about that. That's where you want to put your barcode or your EAN, which is the Aussie version of a UPC code. Product name. Now this is the title as well. For this instance, we're just going to copy this version here and put it in. And yeah, like I said, I've got other videos on this as well. Now we could just say, we could make our name like Water Flods or something like that. You want to make sure that that's the same for your brand name and the manufacturer. Product ID in there. Put in that. I don't have one to use as reference, but just put in that in there. Offer. Make sure that it's new. Your price. Now, what we want to do here is click this. Amazon will ship and provide customer service. That means that you are converting it to Amazon FBA. So do that. Your price. Let's just say for this instance, we'll do $49.99. Compliance, item weight. Let's just say we've got grams. Let's just say it's like 250 grams or something. You know, you want to get all these details as well, either from a similar product page, like this one here, which you can come down here and check out the product details, or you can ask your supplier as well. Main thing as well is you're going to need a photo. First main photo you'll need is something very similar to this, it's just a clear picture of your product on a white background. That's your main image. So for your main image, you need one on a white background, and it tells you the listing, what is required for your photos on your listing here. And main thing to know is you can put anything, basically anything you want in these ones, but this one just needs to be a picture of the product, just the product on a white background. So I'm not going to post anything here just yet, but then from there, you know, just more details, unit count. So provide cumulative content of a product received. So that's just the amount of units you're getting in. If you want 50 units, there we go. Unit count type, just put count. So 50 units, that's how much you want to get in. That's how much, you know, you're going to have in stock. So after you do that, and you got your images in there and whatnot, you've got your title. You don't have to have this fully optimized as well. The main thing that you need, and we're going to go ahead and hit advanced view for this. The main thing that you're going to need to help are your keywords. So keywords as well, I go more in depth in my course on e-com excellence. So yeah, you could put in keywords like dental floss, you know, oral irrigation or something like that. But like I said, you know, I talk about this in the course, and I talk a little bit about it on some of my YouTube videos as well. So check that out if you want more in depth. But search terms is basically how your customers are going to find your product. They're like your back-end keywords. So let's just say what you want to do, your goal here is, you know, dental floss. If someone was to type in here, or water flosser, you know, that could be another one that we get in here. We could say water flosser here. And what you want to do is optimize it so much that when someone types in water flosser into Amazon, yours comes up first. That's what the main goal is here, is to try and get yours first, because whatever shows up on the first page is most likely going to get the most sales, you know, considering that it's a good product as well. So that is pretty much all there is to creating your Amazon listing. And once you've done that, you want to go ahead and hit save and finish. And that'll be in your listings as well. It might take about up to 15 minutes to become active, but it's all you really need to create a listing, the first initial part of your listing anyway. So next thing I want to talk about here is getting your product shipped to an Amazon Australia warehouse. Now again, this is a in-depth video in itself. I do have a video on this as well. I know I'm directing you guys to different videos, but there's so many different steps in it. That I'd rather direct you guys to different videos. So what you can do is go and find my, you know, how to get your shipment sent to Australia. I'm just going to talk about the basics of a shipment plan and what it involves. So, and like I said, you know, you can go through and just open up different tabs and save these videos. You know, give them a like as well if you want. That'll help out as well. But basically, what a shipment plan is you create your Amazon listing, which we just did. What a shipment plan is. And you want to do your shipment plan before you purchase your product from your supplier, by the way. So a shipment plan is basically it is telling Amazon how many units you're getting in, what the weight is, how many boxes you're getting in, you know, how many units, just all that information. It's basically a shipment. That's all it is. Self-explanatory. It's a shipment plan. And the reason we needed to create that listing was so you had the shipment plan to link to your listing. So basically, what happens is, you know, you will get that product sent from your supplier in Alibaba they'll send it directly over to the Amazon warehouse, and then once Amazon receive that product, they will know where it's going. They will know that it's linked to a listing. You won't actually be able to create a shipment plan unless you have a listing. It physically won't allow you to. So shipment plan guide, like I said, is another video on my YouTube. You can check that out. It's very, very useful. It's a very important step. Otherwise you won't be able to get your shipment to Amazon. And then once Amazon starts receiving your products, you will receive an email. So usually you get an email saying, hey, shipment inbound, we are receiving your products, and then it might take a few days for Amazon to fully receive your product. After that, it's time to start selling. So first things first. Now this is just saying, so what we've done so far is we found our product, we've gone through, talked to suppliers, we've created our seller account, our listing, got a shipment plan done, and we sent our product to Amazon. It is now live. So first things first, and a very, very important part to selling on Amazon is getting reviews. What I would do, and reviews are basically like the lifeblood, like I've said here, to get your first couple of paid reviews. I put paid reviews in quotations because it's basically, and I've said here, be careful because it's an incentivized review, but they give your product credibility, because when it comes down to it, no one wants to be the first person to buy a product and test it out. You want to make sure, and you do this, most people do this. You'll probably notice yourself when you go and search for stuff online, when you buy stuff online. I do it myself as well. I go to a product that has already got reviews. If it doesn't have reviews, if I don't know if anyone's used it, I won't buy it. So you've got to think of your product the same as that. So paid reviews give your product credibility. These are the lifeblood of your product. Now we use airtasker.com. Like I said, I've got different videos on my course on this. I've got different videos on my YouTube. I don't have one on Airtasker because I want to keep that just for these students in there. But there are different ways to get it, and it's just basically hiring someone to buy your product, and you pay them to leave a review. It's an incentivized review. I say here to be careful because incentivized reviews are against Amazon's terms of service. However, nearly every seller does this in the beginning. Every big seller does this at some scale, whether it's small or big. Every seller does this. It just depends. You have to be careful with it, and I just have to let you know that is against Amazon's terms of service. But it's very hard. There's really not too many ways around this. It's very hard to start gaining momentum with sales just from a product with no reviews. It's very hard to do that. That's why you need a couple of reviews to get started. Another thing you can do, other methods, you can use Upwork, which I do have a video on that on my YouTube, using Upwork, or Facebook review groups. But again, be very, very careful when you're getting reviews from Facebook review groups, because you want to make sure. Amazon are very, very clever of how they track down. So I wouldn't be giving out links to your product. I wouldn't be having your friends or family review it, because if they're friends with you on any kind of social media or connected to you in any way, Amazon will most likely find it through their purchases and through connections on Facebook and whatnot. You have to be very careful because they're very good at sniffing out this kind of thing. So first things first, be very careful, but I would get reviews to start the ball rolling. Best thing from here, your product is now live, you have reviews. By this point, once you've got your reviews, everything's live, you can start finalizing your listing. That means you can optimize your title, high quality product photos, you can hire people to do that, back-end keywords, description, pricing, etc., competitive pricing, all that good stuff. By the way, talked about in depth in Ecom Excellence. Also have videos on it again on my YouTube, which you can check out. This is just going over the general stuff. So by this point, you can start finalizing your listing, making sure it looks all nice and everything, making sure it's appealing to the eye. You've got reviews on there, it's ready to go. So from there, what you want to do is start advertising. And the advertising that we use is Amazon PPC. Basically, that is pay per click. So what you're doing is bidding on certain keywords. So let's just say for our water flosser, we would bid for the keyword water flosser. So then if you've got a high enough bid, let's just say we start off at $10 a day, our bid is $1.50, say, just for general kind of guess. When someone types in water flosser, if your bid's high enough and it comes up on the first page, if someone clicks on your advertised listing, bang, you spend $1.50, or however much you've bidded. That's pay per click. So you only pay for when someone clicks on your listing. That's how we're going to start driving sales. That's why you need a professional Amazon seller account, so you can use Amazon PPC. And that's how we're going to slowly start making sales. The goal in this, when you are starting to get traffic and make sales with Amazon PPC is to start gaining momentum with traffic, start getting your information, your data of how many people are coming in, what your conversion rate is, all that kind of stuff, which again I talk about in the course as well, and talking about optimizing your PPC as well. But that's where we start growing, the momentum with Amazon PPC. Back then, when I first started the course, back in 2018, there was no Amazon PPC for Amazon Australia, and we basically had to use outsource like Facebook ads and Instagram ads and maybe even Google AdWords. But now it's so much easier because you can actually advertise on the Amazon platform, which is huge. So in conclusion, I know this was a big video, but in conclusion, these are the things that I want you guys to get into. I know this was quite a long video for me. I don't usually do videos this long, but I wanted to give you an in-depth kind of thing. Now, get in and take action. That's the first thing. Get in and take action. Be patient. Learn from your mistakes and ask for help from other sellers in the community. That's the biggest thing. Get in and start doing it. Just make it happen. That's the biggest piece of advice. The best way to learn, no matter how much learning material, how many courses you get into, how much YouTube you watch, the best way that I learned when I started learning, the best way that I excelled at that was to get in and do it myself. That's where I learned the majority of it, was doing it myself. So get in and take action. Be patient, have that right mindset as well. Go over this video again, take notes if you have to, whatever you need to do, and ask for other sellers in the community. Now, I do have a link down below to a free Facebook group. It's got about just over 800 members in it now, and you can ask any questions you want in there. Or you can message me. You don't have to be one of my students. You can message me any questions that you have. More than happy to help. If you want as well an in-depth step-by-step guide, get into Ecom Excellence. If you are looking at selling on the Aussie market or the US market, why not go ahead? If you haven't enrolled into a course before, if you have, or if you're looking for something, go ahead and enroll into Ecom Excellence. Like I said, you don't have to, but it is a step-by-step guide as well. And there is going to be a huge 4.0 update coming out very, very soon. And it's going to be free for any existing members as well. So if you do want to get into that, go ahead and enroll into Ecom Excellence, or just ask me some questions about it. Whatever you want to do, leave a comment on this video. I'm more than happy to help. But apart from that, guys, I'm going to leave this video there. No, it was quite a long one, but I wanted to get as much info as I could in there. And like I said, if you have any questions, please, please, please go into the community and ask myself, comment on any videos I have, whatever you want to do. I usually answer back to pretty much every single comment I get on my YouTube, every single message I get. You can ask people, I pretty much answer back everyone that gives me a comment or a DM. So apart from that, guys, I hope you guys got a lot of value out of this, and I hope you guys get in and start selling in 2020 on Amazon. It's going to be a huge one. But apart from that, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day or night wherever you're watching this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.